driving through the streets of Manhattan and pull up to a red light, see all these people crossing the crosswalk, and all of a sudden they look up and see your car, and they're smiling, and then they're pointing and they're waving, giving a thumbs up, and you've brightened that person's day. Friend has likes the Joker and the Batman series, and so he has a whole car that's themed to Jokers and clowns and whatnot. Another person has a car that's covered with teeth, and he goes to dental schools and shows off this tooth-covered car. They're all totally different. Well, I always tell parents that I think it's a great thing for them to encourage their kids, especially a new driver, to drive an art car, because that new driver will soon realize that people are watching them, and they'll remember you. So you can't cut people off, you can't be discourteous, you have to be nice. People will tell you where they've seen you, so you can't sneak around in an art car, and those are the things that you want your new driver to be subjected to. And it also gives the new driver a way to feel rebellious and make their own car. And we have this obsession with cars, trying to keep them showroom new, and for what purpose? Because as soon as you drive a car off the lot, it immediately loses its value, and it'll never come back close to it. So why even worry about maintaining the original showroom quality? Because it's a losing battle. Not too long ago, my valet parking crunched up the rear quarter panel of my car, and instead of getting upset about it, I just look at it as a design challenge, and I'll glue something over it, take the insurance claim and buy some more glue, and it's no big deal. The supplies that you get for an art car are readily accessible, as opposed to other medias like computer arts or blown glass or ceramics, where you need expensive equipment and studio space. The great thing about art cars is it's an assemblage using all kinds of strange materials, and the interesting things is seeing the juxtaposition of a broken toy next to a fine piece of china. Ramona Moon has a car, the Motley Malibu, that she's been gluing on for 20 years, and there's just a long history of stuff on there. I mean, when I go out to lunch, I'll spend 20 minutes, 30 minutes gluing a bunch of little mirrors on there, and over the course of a week I might get 200 more little mirrors glued to the car. And the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile has been around for almost 100 years, and they wouldn't be driving that around for all this time if it didn't sell hot dogs. I never understood why more artists don't look at that example and apply it to themselves and put their artwork onto a car. And on my daily commute to work, I hear from people who share that same commute, and they say that it's always fun when they spot my car, and it's usually they'll see it once or twice a week, but it's part of their commute as well. An art car is wonderful because other hobbies cost money to do. You have to pay your golf fees if you want to go golfing. If you like to shoot guns, you gotta buy that. But if you have an art car, just driving your art car is all you need to do. And I've been published in CNN and Pumper Magazine, the trade journal for the portalet industry, for a project I did on a sort of like an art car, but on a porta-john. But I think one of the most exciting things that I got was when I was named stop number 417 on the Columbus Public Art Walk. Columbus Health Department puts out a series of maps encouraging people to get out and walk around the neighborhood, and they point out different architectural specialties, murals, sculpture, and then you can call a number and find out more about it. And if you go past my house, I have an official street sign out in front, and it's part of the Art Car House. So the city government has officially recognized Clintonville as being the art car capital of Ohio. If I go down to OSU during a football game, there might be some drunk frat boys who don't like it. They're scared off. They'll yell fag. That's the exception, not the rule. Everyone likes it, from young kids, seniors at senior centers love them. It gets them nostalgic. They talk about the cars from when they were growing up and how they tricked them out, whether they were spinners on the old 50s cars or pinstriping their hot rods as kids. Usually you take your car there and the kids come out and look at it and ask some questions, and I'm always amazed what these kids will come up with. There was an elementary school in Chattanooga, Tennessee that I went to as part of an art car event, and one of the kids asked, after looking at my dashboard completely covered, if I was concerned about that interfering with the airbags. And I thought to myself that, as a matter of fact, I did think about that about 2 months after gluing everything on the car. And so here's a little kid who got it right away. Every now and then you suffer a little bit of theft, but you realize it doesn't matter. You can glue more stuff on it. That person will suffer some bad karma. That's some karma spelled with a C. People often ask if it's distracting driving an art car, but up until this point it hasn't. But now I'm driving down the road and I find myself looking for the mirror ball effect. And so I have a stripe of corks for the cork car. There's a cork car here in Columbus, and then there's a famous cork car in Minneapolis. I'm using plastic jewels on my car in honor of a friend of mine in Toledo who's completely covered her car in plastic jewels. So I'm doing different little segments that pay homage to other art cars. On my second car, that car 2, I did something similar, and I have different sections that would pay tribute to decorated vehicles from around the world. Often buses in Central America will have shrines to the Virgin of Guadalupe, so I had a shrine in the back, and it's where I burned incense and lit candles when the car was parked. In Afghanistan and Pakistan, the lorries are these elaborately decorated trucks that have bells and chains and hanging from the bumper, so I added a row of bells on the back of mine in tribute to that. Some people like to add kinetic motion to their cars, so bobbleheads are always fun to have on the car. Things dangling from the bumpers, from the headliner. I like to decorate the inside because that's where I sit and what I see, and tends to be a little bit more detailed and meaningful to me. Some people aren't quite committed at first to doing an art car, so there are temporary ways of doing art cars. Magnets are a great way. Ceramic disc magnets will hold on up to highway speeds and rain and whatnot. You can even glue Barbie doll heads or some three-dimensional on the magnets and create what looks like a permanent car, but it's not. There's tempera paint that often is used in like elementary school art projects that's water-based, and it's a fun way to paint up a car and have to wash it off. But I think that once people drive a temporary car, they realize how much more fun their daily driving becomes, and usually that leads to a permanent car. The thing about a lot of this stuff that you see on the cars is you realize why we have landfills the size of mountains. It doesn't matter if you're rich or poor, everyone gets McDonald's toys or throwaway things. I had an area that was gay orgy because the stereotype is that gay men just have sex. So I took all these action figures and posed them in such a way that they were, and I was shocked that no one could see what was going on, but rarely no one did. They're like, oh, look at Captain America. And it's like, yeah, look what Captain America's doing with Scooby-Doo. And I did a toxic waste dump around the gas tank and had all these mutants, and that's a little symbolism that I see and most people didn't recognize, and that was probably a good thing. One of the benefits of driving an art car is that you get to park in great places. So at Community Festival, ComFest, big festival here in town, art cars are right behind the main stage, and the show organizers donated us the use of a portalet that we could decorate, and the company maintains it and services it, but most people don't think that it's functional. I would think looking at the cars you would realize that things can be functional, so at ComFest it's the cleanest toilet in the whole park, and it's our own little secret. That is functional art, about as functional as you can get. And so I like to park down at the convention center when there's an interesting group, whether it's a comic convention or the Needle Arts Association. And I do part of this because of my civic pride. I'm a convention planner, so I like to go see conventions. And for me, it's also just fun watching these strangers looking at the car and tripping out. It's my entertainment. It's great to travel in an art car because it immediately opens up so many doors. If you're in a strange town, don't know where to go, usually someone's going to come out and talk to you because they want to ask about the car, and after you have the little short discussion about the car, then you can find out whatever else you want, whether it's where's a good restaurant, where's a club, whatever. I like to use reflective highlights on the car so that when people at night take a flash photograph of it, the reflective material pops out, and people are always surprised by that because they're not expecting that, and they don't really notice it until either their headlights hit it or the flash from their camera goes off. But it gives it a nice different look at night and a different effect. Art that can be viewed from far away or up close, and you see something different from depending on where you're standing and looking at it. I did the Woody on a Barbie was one of my favorite pieces because everyone loves Woody, and then Woody on a Barbie is even sillier. Mae West said is that too much of a good thing is wonderful. I like to say that too much of a good thing is not enough. And so if one Barbie doll body with a weird head is good, then 10 is even better. One of the difficult things about having an art car is what do you do with an art car when you're done driving it? My first car I donated to an art museum in Louisville, and my second car is still running, but I donated it to a local arts group. It does a lot of work with children and doing body puppets and theatrical performances. So they still use that car for to get around and go to festivals and entertain the kids. But you work on a car for 5-6 years, and you can't just junk it like you would any old car. And while it does lose its resale value and trade-in value, it is interesting to look at how some of this stuff degrades and wonder why a Cabbage Patch doll after years stays pristine, but another doll head will start to melt. That's something I always wanted to ask some chemist.
I didn't spend 4 years in fortune teller school for an easy one like that.
I'm a fortune teller, not a miracle worker.